welcome to the 10th episode of UNews Weekly, coming to you from the UN Information Office in Tashkent in close collaboration with all 9 UN agencies operating in Uzbekistan.
Today we are very happy to inform you about the most important UN news of the outgoing week.
I'm Mutkir Tajimov
And Nigina Haitova.
Welcome to the show. Coming to you in this program, spring in our country is reaching festivals and holidays. Tashkent hosted the contest of entrepreneurs, Tashabbus 2013, and wide-scale project of artists, art critics, and craftsmen of Uzbekistan, exhibition fair, Bazaar Art.
Recently, we all participated in one of the flagship events of the year for business community, traditional Tashabbus contest for entrepreneurs.
UNESCO supports the development of Uzbekistan's education sector. A seminar to support the revision and improvement of the draft education sector plan of the country took place in Tashkent.
Uzbekistan is applying for membership in the Global Partnership for Education. And in order for them to become member of the partnership, they need to prepare an education sector plan.
United Nations Development Program had successfully conducted consecutive winter school on human development in Uzbekistan. The school included intensive online module with topics discussed by participants and forum moderators, and in-residence module conducted in Samarkand.
About 100 people initially were enrolled in the online module, and then 25 of them were selected to participate in the in-residence module in Samarkand city.
Earlier this week, the UN Information Office spoke to the special guest Elena Danilova-Cross from UNDP Human Development Regional Center in Bratislava via Skype. She took us through the latest findings in the area of human development.
In this respect, human development is not easy to understand and be embraced by people because it involves so many dimensions, so many directions, like the Millennium Declaration does.
One of the most colorful and inspiring events of the week was Tashabbus 2013. It is a traditional Republican contest for entrepreneurs held at the initiative of the President of the Republic of Uzbekistan, Islam Karimov. Preserving and enhancing national heritage was also supported in the exhibition fair Bazaar Art. Narzullo Oblomurodov, manager of the United Nations Development Program Business Forum of Uzbekistan Phase 2 project, tells us more on that. Let's have a look.
Recently, we all participated in one of the flagship events of the year for business community, traditional Tashabbus contest for entrepreneurs, farmers and craftsmen. This initiative has been launched in 1995 by the initiative of the President of Uzbekistan, and Chamber of Commerce and Industry is one of the main organizers of the event. This year, Tashabbus contest brought together more than 7,000 people throughout the whole country. Within Business Forum project, we are supporting promising inclusive business models in different parts of the country that have high potential to generate new jobs and stable sources of income for mostly vulnerable parts of the population. And within the recently conducted Bazaar Art annual event, our participants have received special certificates from the organizers, and this is for providing technical assistance and support for implementing solar heated greenhouses project. The idea and project proposal was developed by our project, and this initiative was supported by our partners, Fund for Forum for Socially Responsible Citizens, Chamber of Commerce Industry, and others. This is very important for us as it shows that inclusive business models can be both commercially viable and also attractive from the social point of view, and we're happy that there are many partners around us that are ready to provide support for development, for implementation of such important projects.
The UNESCO's 5-day technical workshop brought together the representatives of the Ministry of Public Education, the Ministry of Higher and Secondary Specialized Education, and the Ministry of Finance to work on the parts of the education sector plan concerning the education policy analysis, resource projections, and other spheres. Krista Pikkat, acting head of UNESCO in Uzbekistan, spoke to the UN Information Office about this event in more details.
Uzbekistan is applying for membership in the Global Partnership for Education. And in order for them to become member of the partnership, they need to prepare an education sector plan. This is the first sectoral plan that the government of Uzbekistan has prepared. And it has been done under the coordination of UNICEF. UNESCO stepped in because there were parts in the plan that needed further revision. These parts concern chapters on financial part, on the monitoring and evaluation aspects. The plan needed also an action plan, and since UNESCO has expertise in the education sector management and planning, we offered our support in the further elaboration of the plan. So last week we had some colleagues from our regional office in Bangkok in Tashkent to support us in the organization of a workshop. The workshop brought together representatives from the Ministry of Public Education, Ministry of Higher and Secondary Education, Ministries of Finance and Economy, in order for us to discuss some details and financial projections that are needed to be included in the plan. So when we have completed the education sector plan, this will be a kind of roadmap for the country to see in which direction they need to develop their education sector. It will also be a guideline for the development partners in the country to provide support to some parts of the education sector in Uzbekistan.
Next in our program, the human development is indeed a holistic development concept embracing both the means, the productive capacity, and equity, both the economic and social development, as well as material wealth and social services. Ziyodullo Parpiev, the United Nations Development Program Human Development Coordinator in Uzbekistan, led us through some groundbreaking ideas of this initiative.
Human development concept is relatively new in Uzbekistan. Since it's UNDP's mandate to disseminate and promote this concept worldwide, we are doing the same here in Uzbekistan. One of the ways we do is through organizing human development schools. We organize 2 schools a year, one in winter and one in summer. We have just finished winter school, which consists of 2 modules, month-long online module and 3-day interactive training in residence training in Samarkand city. During the month-long online module, participants were assigned different topics and reading materials, and then they had to show their knowledge through their contribution to forum discussions. Then about 100 people initially were enrolled in the online module, and then 25 of them were selected to participate in the in-residence module in Samarkand city. So in-residence module consisted of mainly interactive sessions on human development concept and sustainable development, Millennium Development Goals, as well as role plays. So we have very good feedback from participants that it was very, very successful event. So we have already started preparations for the summer school on human development. People from different age groups with different experience and from different professions can apply for human development schools. So we hope that our human development schools will continue to attract the best people, true enthusiasts of human development, who will help us spread this concept further.
As we know, human development includes economic growth, social investment, people's empowerment, political and cultural freedom, and all other aspects of people's lives.
Today, for the 10th episode of UNews Weekly, we have a unique special guest section. Earlier this week, Bobir Kamilov, UN Information Office staff, spoke to Elena Danilova-Cross from the United Nations Development Programme Regional Center in Bratislava via Skype. To take us through the latest findings in the area of human development, we pass the floor to the interview.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, for the special guest section of our 10th episode, we're joined by Elena Danilova-Cross, who is the Programme Analyst of UNDP on Human Development and Social Inclusion. Thank you very much, Elena, for joining us. Thank you for taking your time. My first question to you is relevant to the recent document launched in Mexico, the Human Development Report. I want to ask you, what does the report say about how we're doing in terms of timeframes of meeting Millennium Development Goals? What does it tell us?
In this respect, human development is not easy to understand and be embraced by people because it involves so many dimensions, so many directions, like the Millennium Declaration does, which has human rights, democracy issues in it, while MDGs are quite simplistic, quite specific, targeted, and time-bound. But these two are going hand in hand. You cannot separate one from another.
Thank you. In 2015, the 2015 marks the end of a time frame that all the countries have set for themselves to achieve these Millennium Development Goals. And what does the document say in terms of how well we're doing now? The latest document reveals some interesting trends in it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. At the very beginning, when this topic was issued to be selected for this year's report, I was a little bit disappointed because to me, the countries of South, even if it is a symbolic one, these were about the biggest tigers of South. These were about countries in Latin America, which are taking lots of people out of poverty, but it was more about the third world. But I found it so much related to our region in a way, because the findings and the results of the report are not talking about the biggest economies of the world like growing China, India, Brazil. It also found out that there are human development achievers and champions in the past 10-20 years, like Turkey, like Uganda, like Vietnam. So we are talking about very diverse changes, global titanic changes happening now because the world becomes more global, world becomes more interconnected, but at the same time interdependent. And the latest financial crisis and the global recession is the obvious example of it. And now countries of North very much depend on South because it's because of the dynamic growth of South that we are not going into the deeper recession. And at the same time, the South still needs North with its innovations, with its democratic principles, with its social cohesion and inclusion. So we are interdependent anyway.
Thank you. And my last question to you, Elena, is the Human Development Report is sort of a signposting document which tells us, the measurements on how well we're performing in terms of the promises that we've made to ourselves. How is that document going to be relevant post-2015 when Millennium Development Goals are going to turn themselves into Sustainable Development Goals?
The difference between the MDGs and the upcoming Sustainable Development Goals is that the former one will embrace the whole world. MDGs were basically trying to bring least developed countries closer to the developing and developed world. So we were talking about basic things, survival things. Now we are really enlarging our agenda, and the issues of concern are like quality of life, living standards. We're talking about the innovations, we talk about water issues, climate change. These were not very much included into the MDGs. And the report by large is actually revealing all these new changes. For example, it tells us that the countries of the South will very soon face lots of challenges which North was undergoing, like with the growth of the population, we will face later on the issues of either aging of the societies or their growth further, like in India, and it may affect all the social and economic policies. It can also affect the environmental changes. We speak about uncontrolled consumption, and it may lead to unprecedented deterioration in because we're using lots of natural resources. So all of these are going to be revealed through the Human Development Report and has to be taken into account. Try to select and make measures for the future sustainable goal, because sustainability is now the utmost goal of the future development.
Thank you. One last question that emerged from your comments that you've made, and I apologize for taking your time longer than we promised. As we are shifting from one age to the next era, where we're talking about things, South raising up, while and still, we're talking about problems expecting South, if South is expected to face. Can South also expect the emergence of some additional engagement, more engagement, community engagement in meeting the demands of the time and the demands of sustainable development for itself for the years to come?
Yeah, I think that in the past we're thinking that the patterns of North, of these industrial revolutions, this liberalization of economy, are the only ways, are like recipes for a government to go through, and there is no third option. While the South really proved that there are South solutions, that the South have demonstrated that there are new, unexpected ways of doing business, of growing, and these countries are very open to share these ideas, to share innovations, to share technologies, and this gives us actually a good promise that there is a better future for all of us.
Thank you very much, Elena. I know you are almost minutes away from your next flight, and we're very grateful for the time you've taken to join us for the UNews Weekly.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So we've been joined by Elena Danilova-Cross, who's the a policy analyst of United Nations Development Programme on Human Development and Social Inclusion. Thank you for staying with us.
And this concludes the 10th episode of UNews Weekly.
And we will bring you more stories from the life in the world of the United Nations in Uzbekistan and globally in our next episode of the UNews Weekly.
To find out more on this and other stories of the week, please check out the UN in Uzbekistan website www.un.uz and our page on Facebook, which is facebook.com/Unique Tashkent, and stay tuned with us. So for now, from me and the rest of the team, it's goodbye.
Goodbye.